Not less than 100 persons, mostly civilians, have been confirmed dead less than 48 hours since, on Friday early morning night, Israel and Iran began new massive waves of offensive military campaigns that have forced commercial airplanes to avoid the troubled Middle East airspace as the two countries fly missiles of mass destruction in the air corridors, with local media confirming Iran ballistic missile killed 10 persons and injured more than 20 others at a single building struck at Bat Yam city in Israel as the angry Iranian soldiers launched a massive all-night continuous air bombardments campaign against the state of Israel that earlier on Friday began the new offensive military campaign when it flew fighter jets to strike Iranian military homes, nuclear weapon facilities, killing Iran nuclear weapon scientists, military leaders including Iranian Chief of Staff and Commander of the Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps, IRGC, alongside almost 60 civilian death casualties. This, President Donald Trump of the United States, U.S. in a statement issued on Friday shortly after Israeli attack via his personal verified social media handle on his own Truth social media platform, praised and boasted about the military strength and capability of Israel, saying, "Things will only get worse for Iran because he gave them a chance to make a deal but they ignored the chance," adding with some level of mockery that the Iranian hardliners who spoke bravely are now dead as a result of the Israel attack on Iran, saying with emphasis that the US produces the best lethal military equipments anywhere in the world, and Israel already has a lot of the US military leather equipments, adding that Israel knows how to use the weapons and more will be giving to them. And in another statement issued also through the Truth social media platform on Saturday shortly after the unprecedented military parades to mark the 250th anniversary of the founding of the United States Army, President Donald Trump threatened to unleash the full strength and might of the U.S. armed forces to attack Iran at a level never seen before if Iran dare attack U.S. in any way, shape or form, claiming that the US had nothing to do with the Israeli attack on Iran. Reacting earlier, Iran's Supreme Leader, Imam Saeed Ali Khamenei, said Iran will retaliate Israeli attack with a strong response of no mercy, just as Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian said Israeli attack on Tehran on Friday killed military commanders, nuclear scientists, women and children, while wishing President Donald Trump and U.S. armed forces happy birthday on Saturday. Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu alleged that Iran made an attempt to assassinate President Donald Trump twice, adding that Israel attacked the military and nuclear facilities in Tehran on Friday because Iran was building intercontinental nuclear weapons that could be used to destroy Israel and any other country in the world. Shortly after the Israeli attack on Friday, Iran launched retaliatory airstrikes at Israel, with massive explosions in Jerusalem and Tel Aviv, the country's two biggest cities, with residents running into bomb shelters and local media publishing videos and photographs of some parts of Israeli cities completely burned down by Iranian missile. The Times of Israel in an updated report early Sunday morning stated that the death toll from a building struck overnight by Iranian missiles at Bat Yam city in Israel has risen to 10 in numbers. According to the Times of Israel earlier reports, 2 bodies were recovered by rescuers from under the rubble of the building that was hit by an Iranian ballistic missile in Bat Yam, first responders say. This brings the death toll in the missile strike to 6. Some 20 people are still feared missing. Iran on Saturday night launched a barrage of dozens of ballistic missiles at Israel, with one missile impacting in the Arab city of Tamra, east of Haifa, killing 4 people. The barrage was Iran's first since the early morning hours. The salvo sent most of the country into shelters, with Home Front Command pushing phone alerts shortly after 11 p.m., but sirens were then only activated in the north and the Haifa area, as air defenses were activated to intercept the incoming attack. One missile struck a 2-story home in Tamra, killing 4 women and injuring some 10 people. The women were named as Mana Khatib and her 2 daughters, Hala, 20, and Shada, 13, as well as another relative, Manal Khatib. An Iranian ballistic missile struck a 2-story home in the northern city of Tamra, east of Haifa, killing 1 woman and injuring 13 others, according to first responders. Residents of the Arab-Israeli city have long warned that there is a dearth of bomb shelters in the area, and that almost no homes have a safe room attached. The Times of Israel detailed the current situation in Israel thus: Israelis on Saturday described the fear, chaos and confusion as several Iranian missiles slammed into houses and apartments in central Israel overnight, causing widespread destruction, killing 3 people and wounding dozens. Warning sirens sent millions of people rushing for safe rooms and bomb shelters as Iran fired several waves of missiles in response to Israeli strikes on its military leadership and nuclear program. While the IDF said most were intercepted, several missiles, apparently armed with large explosive warheads, slammed into homes in Tel Aviv, Ramat Gan and Rishon LeZion. We shut the door, started watching the news through the computer, and suddenly there was a boom so loud that the whole building teetered, Tali Horsh, resident of a Tel Aviv high-rise that was hit Friday night, told the UNET news site. A few minutes later we opened the door because the smoke detector went off, she said. The entire living room was full of smoke, and we went back to the safe room. Horsh and her family remained in the safe room for some 2 hours before rescuers managed to reach them, UNET said. On the lower floors the destruction was massive, she said. Running water, doors tossed aside, a mess. And the lobby was totally ruined. Rescuers, including hundreds of IDF Home Front Command soldiers, firefighters, police officers, medics, engineers and sniffer dogs remained at the site for hours, ensuring that no one was trapped in the building. Colonel, reservist, Michael David, who leads the Home Front's Tel Aviv command, told UNET that his forces were trained to handle such situations and received reinforcements, but said, "This is an event of a magnitude we haven't seen in the past. We're getting a picture of the people who live in the building, to know if there is anyone missing or trapped. It's a Sisyphic task that can take hours, especially when we're talking about very high buildings, with many hundreds of tenants," he said. "We won't leave until we've made sure we didn't leave any resident behind." That barrage impacted several areas of Tel Aviv and nearby Ramat Gan. A total of 63 people were injured, including a woman who was critically hurt and later succumbed to her wounds. First responders evacuate a victim from a building hit by a missile fired from Iran, in Ramat Gan near Tel Aviv on June 13, 2025, as reported with a photograph by Jack Gez of AFP. Another barrage in the early hours of Saturday morning hit a residential area in Rishon LeZion, also near Tel Aviv. A man, identified as Yisrael Aloni, 73, and another woman were killed, and at least 20 people were wounded. A 3-month-old baby was among those rescued from the rubble. I pulled her into my arms and then gave her to the first police officer I saw, and then started lifting out all the other family members, Fire and Rescue Service, Captain Aiden Chen told the Walla news site. As we were doing this, there were people trapped in the home above and next door, and opposite there was a fire, and I'm trying to manage the incident amid complete destruction, he said. The baby was lightly wounded. Neighbors described the chaos. The kids and I were sleeping, my wife's abroad. The moment there was a siren, we flew down to the safe room, Avi Gaetano, a resident of the area, told Channel 12. 5 minutes later, we heard a boom, but it was muffled, because everything was closed, he said. Going outside, he said, he saw his neighborhood was damaged and helped an elderly couple out of the rubble, so nothing else collapses on them. Right after that, I went back to the kids, because they were frightened, said Gaetano. Thank God, nothing happened to us, we didn't even get a scratch, he said, pointing to shards of glass on the ground, glass-like that can hit a kid's central artery and kill them. Iran's strikes began less than a day after Israel first targeted the Islamic Republic's nuclear facilities, missile factories, and military leadership, killing dozens and wounding hundreds. The Israeli attacks in Iran are ongoing. Israel has sought to prevent Iran from enriching uranium, which is necessary to produce nuclear arms. Iran's leaders, who are sworn to destroy Israel, publicly reject nuclear arms, but enrich uranium to a rate of 60%, far beyond what is necessary for civilian use, and a short step away from weapons grade, the Times of Israel news report ends in quotes. Israel Defense Forces in a number of tweets said, Iran alone is responsible for the current tensions in the Middle East. Their drive to achieve nuclear weapons and wipe Israel off the map is what lead us here. A message from IDF international spokesperson, Lieutenant Colonel Nadav Shoshani on what lead to the current escalations with Iran, 15 nuclear bombs. That's how many nuclear weapons Iran could have made, before we stopped them. We had no choice but to operate. It's for our survival. Eliminated 9 senior scientists and experts responsible for advancing the Iranian regime's nuclear weapons program. All of the eliminated scientists and experts, eliminated based on intelligence, were key factors in the development of Iranian nuclear weapons. Their elimination is a significant blow to the regime's ability to acquire weapons of mass destruction. Referring to a video earlier posted by Iran military, Israel Defense Forces said smiley face, Iran posted this video to show the world how powerful they are. We showed the world what happens when you mistake propaganda for strength. The Iranian chief of staff and commander of the IRGC featured in this Iranian propaganda video have been eliminated and the site has been struck. The IDF launched a preemptive, precise, combined offensive to strike Iran's nuclear program. Showcasing photographs of fighter jets used by Israel to attack Iran on Friday, the Israel Defense Forces said smiley face, dozens of IAF jets completed the first stage that included strikes on dozens of military targets, including nuclear targets in different areas of Iran. Today, Iran is closer than ever to obtaining a nuclear weapon. Weapons of mass destruction in the hands of the Iranian regime are an existential threat to the state of Israel and to the wider world. The state of Israel has no choice but to fulfill the obligation to act in defense of its citizens and will continue to do so everywhere it is required to do so, as we have done in the past, IDF statement ends quotes. AFP reported the UK Prime Minister, Keir Starmer saying, "We are moving assets to the region, including jets, and that is for contingency support," Starmer told reporters traveling with him on his plane to Canada for G7 talks. The UK leader said he had spoken with both US President Donald Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu since Israel launched attacks on Iranian military and nuclear sites early Friday. According to officials, dozens of people have been killed, including top Army and Revolutionary Guards commanders as well as civilians. Iran has responded with barrages of drones and missiles fired at Israel overnight Friday into Saturday. Starmer said the situation was fast-moving and intense. "We're having ongoing discussions with our allies all of the time, both myself and Foreign Minister David Lammy, who also spoke to the Iranians," he said. "Our constant message is de-escalate, and therefore everything we're doing, all discussions we're having are to do with de-escalation." The UK leader said his talk on Friday with Netanyahu had been good and constructive, and had included discussions about the safety and security of Israel. Foreign Secretary Lammy said earlier Saturday that he was alarmed by further strikes overnight. "We must urgently de-escalate and prevent any further harm to civilians," Lammy said in a post on social media, adding that he had spoken to his Iranian counterpart Abbas Araghchi to urge calm. Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, in a statement on Friday stated that, in response to the aggression and criminal assault carried out this morning by the savage, terrorist, and child-killing Zionist regime on areas within the Islamic Republic of Iran, resulting in the martyrdom of several senior military commanders, prominent scientists, and innocent civilians, especially defenseless children, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, as the defensive and offensive arm of the Iranian nation, has launched a forceful and precise retaliation. With reliance on divine power, the wise leadership of the Commander-in-Chief, may his shadow be extended, and the united demand and support of the noble Iranian people, the IRGC has executed Operation True Promise 3 inches against dozens of targets, including military centers and air bases of the usurping Zionist regime in the occupied territories. The operation was launched with the sacred call, O Ali ibn Abi Talib, as, on the blessed night of Eid al-Ghadir. Further details of this operation will be announced in the next statement to the honorable people of Iran. Iran President Masoud Pezeshkian in a press release described Israel as a criminal Zionist occupier, saying, its action against Tehran and other cities in Iran on Friday violated international laws put together by international communities. Imam Saeed Ali Khamenei, Iran's supreme leader, in a televised speech following the attacks launched by Israel on Friday, said that, today, we must give a strong response to the evil, despicable, terrorist Zionist identity. God willing, we will respond with strength, and will show no mercy to them. The Iranian nation won't permit the blood of its valued martyrs to go unavenged, nor will it ignore the violation of its airspace. Meanwhile, the Iranian Foreign Ministry said that the Permanent Mission of the Islamic Republic of Iran to the United Nations has submitted an urgent letter to the Security Council, signed by our Foreign Minister, vehemently condemning the Israeli regime's unlawful and reckless attacks on Iran's nuclear facilities, as well as the targeted assassinations of senior officials and innocent civilians. The Israeli regime and its backer, namely the United States, shall be held fully accountable for these blatant violations of international law and the grave consequences. Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said, Israel is defending freedom in the Middle East and beyond. We're doing so against a tyrannical and radical Iranian regime that wants to build atomic bombs to destroy us and wants to build ballistic missiles, including intercontinental ballistic missiles, to be able to threaten anyone and everywhere in the world. Happy birthday, President Trump. Thank you for being Israel's greatest friend and being so steadfast in the defense of the Jewish people and Jewish state. Sarah and I wish you a wonderful birthday and continued success in your historic presidency. President Donald Trump of the United States, U.S. on Friday said through Truth social media platform that, I gave Iran chance after chance to make a deal. I told them, in the strongest of words, to just do it, but no matter how hard they tried, no matter how close they got, they just couldn't get it done. I told them it would be much worse than anything they know, anticipated, or were told, that the United States makes the best and most lethal military equipment anywhere in the world, by far, and that Israel has a lot of it, with much more to come, and they know how to use it. Certain Iranian hardliners spoke bravely, but they didn't know what was about to happen. They are all dead now, and it will only get worse. There has already been great death and destruction, but there is still time to make this slaughter, with the next already planned attacks being even more brutal, come to an end. Iran must make a deal, before there is nothing left, and save what was once known as the Iranian Empire. No more death, no more destruction, just do it, before it is too late. God bless you all. Hours after presiding over an unprecedented military parade in Washington, D.C., Donald Trump issued another statement and threatened that if Iran attacks the United States in any way, it would face the might of the U.S. military at levels never seen before. In a post on his Truth social platform, Trump also said the U.S. had nothing to do with Israel's latest attack on Iran overnight and that we can easily get a deal done to end the conflict. He said, the U.S. had nothing to do with the attack on Iran tonight. If we are attacked in any way, shape or form by Iran, the full strength and might of the U.S. armed forces will come down on you at levels never seen before. However, we can easily get a deal done between Iran and Israel, and end this bloody conflict. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio on Friday said, tonight, Israel took unilateral action against Iran. We are not involved in strikes against Iran and our top priority is protecting American forces in the region. Israel advised us that they believe this action was necessary for its self-defense. President Trump and the administration have taken all necessary steps to protect our forces and remain in close contact with our regional partners. Let me be clear, Iran should not target U.S. interests or personnel. BBC reported that, not only has Israel's attack on Iran been more wide-ranging and intense than its two previous military operations last year, but it also appears to have adopted some of the strategy that was used in the Israeli offensive against Hezbollah in Lebanon last November. Footage from Tehran has shown what seemed to be specific buildings hit, similar to images from Israel's attacks on the southern suburbs of Beirut, which culminated in the killing of Hezbollah's leader, Hassan Nasrallah. No figure of that magnitude appears to have been killed in Iran. The supreme leader Ali Khamenei has not been targeted, but to kill Iran's military chief of staff, Hossein Salami, the commander of the powerful Revolutionary Guards, and several nuclear scientists, in the first hours of the operation is to have inflicted an unprecedented degree of damage on Iran's elite. And Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has suggested this might go on for days.
I want to start by wishing a double happy birthday. First, happy birthday to you, President Donald J. Trump. You've been an extraordinary leader, decisive, courageous, clear vision, clear action. You have done great things for Israel. You've been an extraordinary friend to the Jewish state and to me personally. We've known each other for many years, and we appreciate what you're doing now, helping protect Israeli lives against the criminal regime in Iran. I want to wish also a 250th happy birthday to the American Army. The men and women of the armed services of the United States have protected freedom for 2.5 centuries. We would not have a free world without you. Thank you on behalf of free peoples everywhere. Today, Israel is defending freedom in the Middle East and beyond. We're doing so against a tyrannical and radical Iranian regime that wants to build atomic bombs to destroy us and wants to build ballistic missiles, including intercontinental ballistic missile, to be able to threaten anyone and everywhere in the world. By defending ourselves, we're also defending others. We're defending our Arab neighbors, our Arab friends in peace. We're defending Europe. We're helping defend also the United States, which helps us all the time in our defense. This is an important mission. Right now, the Iranian regime is bombing our civilian neighborhoods while we are targeting the terrorists. Now, this is not new. They've tried to assassinate President Trump twice. They bombed American embassies. They killed 241 Marines in Beirut. They killed and injured thousands of Americans with their IEDs in Iraq and Afghanistan. They burn the American flag. They chant endlessly, "Death to America." Our enemy is your enemy. And by doing what we're doing, we're dealing with something that will threaten all of us sooner or later. Our victory will be your victory. How do we intend to achieve that victory? Well, we've already done great things. We've taken out their senior military leadership. We've taken out their senior technologists who are leading the race to build atomic weapons that would threaten us, but not only us. We've done all that and many other things. But we are also aware of the fact that there's more to be done. So we're preparing. We paved the way to Tehran, and our pilots over the skies of Tehran will deal blows to the Ayatollah regime that they cannot even imagine. And I can tell you this. We have indications that senior leaders in Iran are already packing their bags. They sense what's coming. I'll tell you what would have come if we hadn't acted. We had information that this unscrupulous regime was planning to give the nuclear weapons that they would develop to their terrorist proxies. That's nuclear terrorism on steroids. That would threaten the entire world. This is what Israel is doing with the support, the clear support of the President of the United States, Donald Trump, and the American people, and many others in the world. So with God's help, and with the goodwill and resolution of all free societies, we shall win.
من المؤمنين رجال صدقوا ما عاهدوا الله عليه فمنهم من قضى نحبه ومنهم من ينتظر و ما بدلوا تبدیلا. سلام و درود به ملت عزیز و رشید ایران. نیمه شب گذشته شاهد تجاوز وحشیانه رژیم جنایتکار صهیونیستی به تهران و شهرهای دیگر از کشور بودیم که منجر به شهادت تعدادی از کودکان و زنان، جمعی از شهروندان بیگناه، فرماندهان نظامی و دانشمندان هسته‌ای شد. این اقدام سبعانه که برخلاف همه تعهدات بین المللی بود، مؤید خوی جنایتکارانه رژیم نامشروع صهیونیستی است که موجودیت خود را بر پایه اشغال و تجاوز و کودک کشی بنا نهاده است. تجاوز شب گذشته به همه جهانیان حقانیت ادعای چندین و چند ساله جمهوری اسلامی ایران مبنی بر این که تجاوز و جنایت با ذات رژیم صهیونیستی عجین بوده را اثبات کرد. البته ملت ایران و مسئولان کشور در برابر این جنایت سکوت نخواهند کرد و پاسخ مشروع و قدرتمند جمهوری اسلامی ایران دشمن را از اقدام احمقانه خود پشیمان خواهد کرد. به فرموده امام بزرگوار ما، هر پرچمی از دست سرداری بیفتد، دست توانای سردار دیگری آن را برداشته و به میدان می آید. جمهوری اسلامی ایران همان اندازه که برای صلح و آرامش در جهان و منطقه همه تلاش خود را به کار بست و آمادگی کامل خود را برای گفتگوهای طولانی و اطمینان آفرینی برای جهان در جهت صلح طلبی اثبات کرد، در پاسخ به تجاوز و دفاع مشروع از تمامیت کشور نیز قاطعانه اقدام خواهد کرد. من در اینجا از ملت شریف و غیور ایران می‌خواهم با حفظ وحدت و یکپارچگی و همدلی خود و پرهیز از توجه به شایعات و اخبار نادرستی که در جنگ روانی دشمن ایجاد خواهد شد و همراهی و اعتماد به مسئولان زمینه عبور هرچه قدرتمندانه تر از این شرایط را برای کشور فراهم سازند. همچنین این اطمینان را به مردم میدهم که دولت جمهوری اسلامی با تمام توان و وجود خود خدمتگزاری به ملت عزیز را تداوم خواهد داد و اختلال در روند جاری زندگی عمومی ایجاد نخواهد شد. امروز ملت ایران بیش از هر زمان دیگر در کنار هم بودن، اعتماد، همدلی و وحدت و وفاق نیازمند است و به یاری خداوند عزیز با چنین روحیه ارزشمندی پاسخ سخت، خردمندانه و قوی به جنایت رژیم اشغال گر خواهد داد. رژیمی که امروز منفورترین موجودیت نزد افکار عمومی جهانیان، مردم منطقه و ملت ایران است و با هدایت و رهبری فرمانده معظم کل قوا از این میدان سخت نیز با سربلندی و عزت به در خواهد آمد.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحیم. عرض سلام دارم به ملت عزیز و بزرگ کشورمون. شهادت سرداران و دانشمندان عزیز که البته برای همه سنگین است و تعدادی از مردم غیر نظامی رو به ملت ایران، به خانواده های اونها تبریک و تسلیت عرض میکنم. امیدواریم انشاءالله خدای متعال درجات اونها رو عالی کنه و ارواح طیبشون رو مشمول لطف ویژه خودش قرار بده. و اما مطلبی که مایل بودم با ملت عزیزمون در میان بذارم اینه که رژیم صهیونیستی اشتباه بزرگی کرد، خطای بزرگی کرد، غلطی کرد و عواقب او رو بیچاره خواهد کرد به توفیق الهی. ملت ایران از خون شهدای گرانقدر نخواهد گذشت، از تجاوز با آسمان کشورش صرف نظر نخواهد کرد. نیروهای مسلح ما آماده هستند و مسئولین کشور و همه آحاد مردم پشت سر نیروهای مسلحند. امروز از همه جناح‌های گوناگون سیاسی کشور و آحاد گوناگون کشور پیام‌های مشابهی صادر شد. همه احساس می‌کنند که باید در مقابل هویت خبیث رذل تروریست صهیونیستی با قدرت عمل کرد. باید با قدرت عمل کرد و انشاءالله با قدرت عمل خواهد شد. و با اونها مماشاتی نخواهیم کرد. زندگی برای اونها تلخ خواهد شد بدون تردید. فکر نکنند که زدند و تمام شد. نه، کار رو اونها شروع کردند و جنگ به راه انداختند. ما به اونها اجازه نخواهیم داد که از این جنایت بزرگی که انجام دادند خودشون رو سالم خلاص کنند. مسلم نیروی مسلح جمهوری اسلامی ضربه های سنگینی بر این دشمن خبیث وارد خواهد آورد. ملت هم پشتیبان ماست، پشتیبان نیروهای مسلح و جمهوری اسلامی به اذن الهی بر رژیم صهیونیستی فائق خواهد شد. ملت عزیز این رو بدونند و مطمئن باشند و خاطر جمع باشند که در این زمینه هیچ کوتاهی صورت نخواهد گرفت. و السلام علیکم و رحمت الله و برکاته.
Forces who are connected, bringing you the news in a more digital way.
Day after Russia government led by President Vladimir Putin released over 1,212 bodies said to be dead Ukrainian soldiers, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy in a written and video press release on Thursday said that Ukraine has recorded over 1 million casualties of Russia soldiers, both dead and wounded inclusive. There were reports that Ukraine initially refused to receive the bodies of the fallen heroes, which thus left the drivers and the refrigerator trucks with the frozen bodies of the said Ukrainian soldiers to be stranded at the exchange site, spending about 4 days waiting for the Ukrainian representatives to receive the body bags. RT News Media reported that Ukraine finally accepts the fallen soldiers' bodies from Russia, quoting Russia's top peace negotiator, Vladimir Medinsky, as saying that Kiev has received 1,212 bodies so far. Russia receives 27 of its dead soldiers in return. According to Zelensky, today, in year 4 of Russia's full-scale war, our military has recorded over 1 million Russian casualties, killed and wounded. That's the price Putin is willing to pay for his sick geopolitical fantasies. And still, he refuses to end this war. 12 days ago, Ukraine's security service completed Spiderweb, a low-cost drone operation targeting the very aircraft Russia used to terrorize our country and to send a message of threat to NATO. These were not just similar strategic bombers, but the exact same ones Russia had used to simulate missile strikes on NATO territory. 10 years ago, such a strike would have been unimaginable. Today, we can't even imagine what kind of strikes a country might be able to carry out 10 years from now. But one principle is clear: no country can afford to stay behind in defense tech. Russia doesn't really care about the lives of 1 million of its own people. But they do care about harsh sanctions, especially on oil and finance, as well as about political isolation, when Moscow is not invited to international forums. If Russian oil sells for no more than $30 a barrel, suddenly Moscow will start sounding peaceful. We must confront those who treat human life as worthless, just as we defend our own safety. This fight isn't limited to Europe, it matters in every region nearby. When life means nothing to those in charge, then no crime is off the table, not even full-scale aggression. We thank Czechia for its initiative on ammunition supplies. It clearly showed that united efforts can really make a difference in modern warfare. We must strengthen all forms of defense cooperation, especially those that help us become more technologically advanced and use drones of every kind, in the air, on land, and at sea. Ukraine is ready to increase drone production by 40% already this year. Our factories have the capacity. What we lack is financing. I urge your countries to treat drone production with the same urgency and attention that we do. We must all be faster in drones than our enemies. We should be realistic about those who brought war to Europe. You can't talk Russia into peace. But there are forms of pressure that hurt those in charge. I ask you to support a serious increase in sanctions against Russia. We should remember that respect for human life is not just a moral value, it's a security factor. Our joint policy must support those who value life, and restrict those who show contempt for it. This can only be done at the level of all Europe and the Euro-Atlantic community. Only together we are strong enough to defend our way of life and life itself. I ask you to support decisions that do not leave behind European nations that deserve to be in the EU and NATO. This includes Ukraine, Moldova, Balkan nations. Everyone deserves fair decisions. Since the beginning of the full-scale war, more than 113,000 Ukrainian warriors, from various branches of our defense and security forces, have been awarded orders and medals, most of them specifically for participation in combat. This is only a part of the heroism and resilience of Ukrainians that enable our nation to endure and defend our own interests. Not someone else's, but Ukrainian interests, on our own Ukrainian land. Today, I presented state awards, crosses of military merit and orders of the Golden Star, to our warriors, and handed over the orders to the families of heroes who were conferred this title posthumously. We must always speak with absolute honesty. Without such warriors, there would be no Ukraine. We would not have our own independent state without families like these, who raise their sons and daughters with true respect for the duty to defend Ukraine, to stand by their brothers in arms, and to fight. Thank you. Glory to Ukraine. Our people are coming home. Today, warriors of our armed forces, National Guard, and Border Guard service are back home. They all require medical treatment, and they will certainly receive the care they need. This is already the second stage of bringing back severely wounded and seriously ill warriors. We continue working to bring everyone home from Russian captivity. We thank everyone who helps make these exchanges possible, so that each and every one of them can be home, in Ukraine. We had reported that the President of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelenskyy, has confirmed that President Vladimir Putin-led Russia government has set free first batch of Ukrainian prisoners in line with the agreement both countries reached at the last peace meeting in Istanbul, Turkey, adding that the Russia war in Ukraine is still intense at Pokrovsk area of Sumy region.
Bringing you the news in a more digital way.
Vishwash Kumar Ramesh, the only survivor in the Air India Boeing Flight 171 that crashed into hostel on Thursday afternoon at Ahmedabad, says he quickly removes his seatbelt and runs out of the plane after the aircraft crash landed less than 59 seconds after takeoff on the ground floor of the medical students' hostel with a lock on his side, that the door of the plane got broken and opened immediately after the plane crash landed, and no wall of the building was blocking his way, unlike many others who could have escaped, but they were prevented or blocked by the wall of the hostel building that denied them the opportunity to be able to run out of the plane. And Air India in a press statement said the Boeing 171 is 12 years old, and the managing director and chief executive officer of Air India, Campbell Wilson, in a video press release said that only one person out of the 242 passengers and crew members on board the plane survived. This, the president and chief executive officer of Boeing, the US plane, missiles and rockets manufacturer, said he has spoken with Air India, Tata Sons and Tata Group chairman, Natarajan Chandrasekaran, to offer full support, saying, "A Boeing team stands ready to support the investigation led by India's Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau," while India Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi, today paid an on-the-spot assessment visit to the crash site and the hospital where people on ground that sustained injuries, and the British national, Vishwash Kumar Ramesh, who is the only survivor among the people on board the plane, are being treated, and the Prime Minister after the visit issued a statement to condole with the families and relatives of the dead victims, including the family and relatives of former Gujarat Chief Minister, Shri Vijay Rupani, a highly notable personality of apparent center of interest that also died in the plane crash. CCTV footage made available online by local media indicated that the plane crash landed very close to the airport in less than 59 seconds after takeoff, and the plane was still within the view of the airport CCTV camera. The only survivor, Vishwash Kumar Ramesh said the plane crash landed within 33 seconds after takeoff, with the plane lights turning green and white. He said he thought he was dead like every other person on board the plane because he saw before his eyes the air hostesses caught in fire. The lone survivor spoke in his native language while speaking on the sickbed and answering questions from a news reporter based in Ahmedabad, and his statement is presented as translated by Sky News. The crashed Air India plane was traveling from India to London after the flight AI 171 departed Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel International Airport at 13:39 local time, 8:09 Greenwich Mean Time, and was due to touchdown at London's Gatwick Airport at 18:25 British Summer Time. According to BBC, the only survivor told local media from his hospital bed that, 30 seconds after takeoff, there was a loud noise. It all happened so quickly. His cousin, Ajay Valgi, said Mr. Ramesh called his family to say he was fine, but he does not know the whereabouts of his brother, also called Ajay, who was on the plane with him. The Boeing 787-8 Dreamliner, which took off from the city of Ahmedabad, in western India, plowed into a residential area, hitting a hospital complex and medical student hostel. CNN reported that at least 290 people are dead after a passenger plane crashed on departure at an airport in Ahmedabad, India, health officials said. The plane, en route to London, hit a hostel for doctors when it crashed, and images show its tail protruding from the building. The death toll includes people on the plane and others on the ground, police said. Vishwash Kumar Ramesh, the 40-year-old, who was in Seat 11A, came out limping after the crash and was rushed to the hospital by locals. Union Civil Aviation Minister, Ram Mohan Naidu Kinjarapu, expressed deep sorrow and stated that the nation is shaken by the horrific incident and pledged a fair and thorough investigation to uncover the cause of the crash. Union Home Minister, Amit Shah, stated that there was no chance of saving anyone after the deadly crash of Air India Flight AI 171 in Ahmedabad due to the high temperatures and large quantity of fuel on board. Hindustan Times published an image showing twisted metal, shattered walls, and remnants of Flight AI 171 buried deep inside the hostel building. These chilling images reveal the devastating impact of the Air India tragedy that claimed over 200 lives, the India news media stated. Air India said 169 of the 230 passengers were Indian nationals, 53 British nationals, 7 Portuguese, and 1 Canadian. BBC reports stated that Thursday's incident was the first fatal crash involving a 787 Dreamliner, first introduced in 2011. US and British investigators will travel to India, with the National Transportation Safety Board, NTSB, saying it will assist Indian authorities. India's Directorate General of Civil Aviation, DGCA, said the aircraft issued a mayday call seconds after takeoff. It lost contact with air traffic control shortly thereafter, crashing just outside the airport's perimeter. Boeing President and CEO, Kelly Ortberg, in a statement issued and made available by the Boeing Media Relations, said, "Our deepest condolences go out to the loved ones of the passengers and crew on board Air India Flight 171, as well as everyone affected in Ahmedabad. I have spoken with Air India Chairman, N. Chandrasekaran, to offer our full support, and a Boeing team stands ready to support the investigation led by India's Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau. Boeing will defer to India's Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau, AAIB, to provide information about Air India Flight 171, in adherence with the United Nations International Civil Aviation Organization protocol known as Annex 13, Boeing President stated." Harsh Sanghavi, India Minister of State for Home, Industries, Transport, Youth and Sports, stated on his X social media account that Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Bhai Modi reached Ahmedabad this morning and visited the site of the plane crash. He conducted a thorough inspection of the crash site, asking very detailed questions about each and every aspect of the incident, response efforts, and relief measures. Met with injured patients at Ahmedabad Civil Hospital, inquiring about their health, interacted with doctors and healthcare workers injured in the accident, taking stock of their condition and the patient's health. The PM held a high-level meeting in Ahmedabad, providing crucial guidance to ensure a swift and effective response. The administration is working tirelessly to provide assistance and support to the families of the passengers affected by the tragic plane crash in Ahmedabad. Arrangements have been made for relatives to stay at Circuit House and other designated locations, with transportation services available from Civil Hospital. Our medical team, including doctors, nurses, and paramedical staff, are dedicated to providing care to the injured. The DNA identification process is underway, and our police personnel are ensuring the well-being and safety of the family members. In this difficult time, the community comes together, and every individual is performing the duty with sincerity and compassion, said the minister. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi was briefed by officials on the progress of rescue operations when he visited the crash site in his home state of Gujarat on Friday. Government of India Press Information Bureau in a separate press release on Friday stated that Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi visited Ahmedabad today in the wake of the tragic plane crash that claimed numerous lives. Expressing solidarity with the affected families, Shri Modi met those injured in the aftermath, including the lone survivor, and assured them of the nation's unwavering support during this difficult time. PM also chaired a review meeting at Ahmedabad Airport with top authorities to assess the ongoing relief and recovery efforts. In separate posts on X, Shri Modi stated, met those injured in the aftermath of the tragic plane crash in Ahmedabad, including the lone survivor, and assured them that we are with them and their families in this tough time. The entire nation is praying for their speedy recovery. Chaired a review meeting at Ahmedabad Airport with top authorities. Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi today condoled the passing of former Gujarat Chief Minister, Shri Vijay Rupani, who tragically lost his life in the recent Ahmedabad air disaster. Shri Modi highlighted Shri Rupani's distinguished career, recalling his contributions across various roles, including his tenure in the Rajkot Municipal Corporation, as Rajya Sabha MP, Gujarat BJP President, and as a cabinet minister in the state government. In a thread post on X, Shri Modi wrote, met the family of Shri Vijaybai Rupani ji. It is unimaginable that Vijaybai is not in our midst. I've known him for decades. We worked together, shoulder to shoulder, including during some of the most challenging times. Vijaybai was humble and hard-working, firmly committed to the party's ideology. Rising up the ranks, he held various responsibilities in the organization and went on to serve diligently as Gujarat's chief minister. In every role assigned, he distinguished himself, be it in the Rajkot Municipal Corporation, as Rajya Sabha MP, as Gujarat BJP President, and as cabinet minister in the state government. Vijaybai and I also worked extensively when he was Gujarat CM. He ushered in many measures that enhanced Gujarat's growth trajectory, particularly in boosting ease of living. We'll always cherish the interactions we had. My thoughts are with his family and friends in this hour of grief. Om Shanti, India Prime Minister stated.
और मेरे नज़रों के सब सामने हुआ था. मेरे खुद को भी बिलीव नहीं होता कि मैं कैसे उसमें से जिंदा बाहर निकला, क्योंकि थोड़ा टाइम लिए कि तो मेरे को लगा था कि मैं भी मरने वाला हूँ, लेकिन जब मेरी आँख खुल गई, मैं देखा ना, तो मुझे लगा मैं जिंदा हूँ. तो मैंने ट्राई किया, जब मेरी सीट थे वो मेरी बेल्ट निकाला, मैंने वो ट्राई किया जहाँ से निकल सकता वहाँ से, तो मैं निकल गया वहाँ से. मेरे सामने नज़रों के सामने एयर हॉस्टल और दूसरे आंटी अंकल सभी उसमें मिस हो गए थे सभी.
अच्छा, थोड़ा सा बता पाएं, जब जैसे ही टेक ऑफ हुई फ्लाइट, क्या हुआ था और अचानक से कैसे हादसा हुआ? टेक
ऑफ के बाद 1 मिनट के अंदर ही जब टेक ऑफ हुआ ना, तो सडनली 5-10 सेकंड कैसे लगा जैसे स्टक हो गया वो. बाद में से मेरे को लगा कि कुछ हुआ. बाद में प्लेन में लाइट ऑन हो गई, ग्रीन और वाइट. बाद में वो पता नहीं, वो प्लेन टेक ऑफ ज्यादा करने के लिए वो रेस तो बोलते हैं क्या, रेस दिया होगा ऐसा कुछ, और सीधा स्पीड में ही घुस गया जहाँ वो क्या था, वो
हॉस्टल था, एक हॉस्पिटल का.
हाँ, हॉस्टल में. और सब सामने सब हुआ.
ये जब फ्लाइट जब क्रैश हुई उस समय हॉस्टल पे लैंड की थी, उसी समय आप बाहर निकले थे?
नहीं, क्योंकि आई थिंक मेरे को जब मैं जो साइड पे था ना, वो साइड हॉस्टल पे नहीं लैंड हुई थी। हॉस्टल के जो ग्राउंड फ्लोर है ना, जैसे नीचे, वहाँ लैंड हुई थी। तो मुझे दूसरे के बारे में मेरे को पता नहीं, लेकिन मैं जहाँ लैंड हुआ था ना, वो नीचे की साइड थी। तो जब वहाँ थोड़ा पेस भी था प्लेन के जब बाहर, तो जब जैसे मेरा डोर टूटा ना सब, तो मैंने देखा ना जब सामने कि थोड़ा इधर पेस है, मैं ट्राई कर सकता हूँ निकलने के लिए। तो मैंने ट्राई किया निकलने के लिए, तो फिर मैं निकल गया उधर, क्योंकि अपोजिट साइड पे था ना, वो बिल्डिंग का वो था ना दीवार, तो उधर से कोई शायद नहीं निकल सका होगा, क्योंकि उधर पूरा उधर ही क्रैश हुआ था। मैं जो जहाँ था वहाँ थोड़ा पेस था। फिर भी मेरे पता नहीं मैं कैसे बचा हूँ, क्योंकि मेरे नज़र के सामने ही सब 2 एयर हॉस्टल वो अंकल आंटी सब उधर ही सब।
आप पैदल चल के आए वहाँ से निकल के?
हाँ, और थोड़ा जब आग लगी ना, मेरा लेफ्ट हैंड भी जल गया थोड़ा। फिर एम्बुलेंस मेरे को उठा लेके इधर आया हॉस्पिटल में।
Forces who are connected, bringing you the news in a more digital way. Forces who are connected, bringing you the news in a more digital way.